Good morning, everybody. You're welcome to the Daily Digest with Jimi Disu, and is brought to you by Amstel Malta. My apologies for Saturday. We were supposed to have a live discussion with Chido Wakama on this on the earpiece wahala with the Kano Emirates, but unfortunately, this place was fumigated on Friday, and I didn't get to know until late, and therefore, of course, there was no way. Even as we speak, it can still has a faint smell. So for health reasons, it's fumigated regularly. So because we don't want that, and me, I'm not ready. Okay, so that's why it didn't happen. And now I put out a notice that Chido and I would discuss the issue today, and he had agreed. But there was an advertorial in the papers yesterday by some company called Zinari Communications, talking about the Kano Emirate and earpiece matter. And Chido was of the opinion that since it looks as if it has been resolved, there was no need to harp on the matter. And I quite understood that. But then he is a guest. I'm the one who produces the program. Even if it has been resolved, I now need to take you through how, or at least to the best of what I can see, what the resolutions are. So we will still discuss the earpiece issue, but without Chido. I'm not too happy with the earpiece. I would say that boldly. I made more than so much effort to see if I could talk to the chief operating officer, and the least I expected for her to do was to reply my WhatsApp messages, which turned blue. You know, once you read it, it turns blue. You know, WhatsApp now, fofo. So which turns blue. So she read it and then decided to ignore. And that's not the best way for an airline to partner with people who shape public opinion. Whatever it was, I expected she'd probably put a call through to me, or to get. And I went to their Twitter handle to ask who is the head of their public relations department, so that we could get a first-hand information from them to put things in the balance. I never got a response. So earpiece management of its public interaction itself is faulty, and those were one of the things I wanted to discuss with Chido. From a distance, that airline doesn't look that well structured. There was a time there was a WhatsApp leak, some chats that also involved them about a year or two ago, when I think they launched the Dubai whatever, and even the chairman himself was picking holes in the way they conducted themselves on that inaugural flight. So Airpeace needs to shape up. Airpeace is not about Onyema. Airpeace is a corporate body. What we are told, and our attitude, is that when you set up a company that offers services and interacts with the public, at the back of your mind, the company belongs to the public and not to you. And so, therefore, you become the servant. And that includes managing your image right, having a very good press interaction, being polite to people. I think it was impolite. I didn't call the MD of Airpeace to toast her. Here she's a woman. I didn't call her to toast her. I called her to make inquiries. And she didn't even answer. A simple answer, of referring to, if you don't have an in-house top-notch public relations person, the least I expect Airpeace to do is to hire a consultant to handle these things. Maybe even that consultant or whoever it was would have handled this Airpeace, whatever matter, better. So that's the word for them. So this, I don't know who Zenari Communications are. I don't know because they took out a full page, and that cost about $500,000. So they must have some interest in it. I probably think, could it be because they're based in Abuja? Okay, they're based in Abuja, and it was signed by the founder and chief executive officer of the communications unit, Namfe Asabe Audu. He signed this, and I found his submissions, the submissions interesting, and I'm going to go through some of it with you. Okay, but I like, they have done what I would call a fair job in trying to put issues in perspective, but there are one or two I'd like to comment on. The Zenari Communications believes that the issue of the the Bayero earpiece matter revolves around how the respected Emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero, and his entourage missed a Lagos-Kano flight regardless of the Banjul Lagos. Okay? Earpiece, to the best of my knowledge, have said it wasn't a connecting flight. They're two different things. If, for example, you take a KLM to the UK or to the States, you have a connecting flight in Amsterdam. Okay, but it wasn't a connecting flight, according to what Earpiece said. It was a flight booked, first of all, booked international and then local. So there was a delay on the Banjul Lagos, but going forward, because of the delay, apparently, they missed the Lagos Kano flight, which was taxiing, and the Emirate now reached out to. I don't want to use the word Emirates, so it doesn't look, but the MS people reached out to Earpiece to hold the plane down so that he could. And of course, Earpiece declined, which I agree with. Because it has nothing to do with disrespect. It has to do with customer relations. You have other customers of equal status. Each has his own ticket. Whether one of them is now a sir or whatever it is, you have other customers already ready to go. You can't delay those people because you want to stop. You give respect to people, yes, but we're now in an era of equal rights. Why I use this scenario is this paragraph that is here, which I will also now explain. He says that we recall that about 3 decades ago, and this is the third time this thing is coming up, an international flight from London to Lagos, name of airline withheld, but I know it was BCAL, because I was a consultant PR consultant to BCAL, my company then, not my personal company, my company that was PR consultant, and I handled that. And so it's BCAL they're talking about, because BCAL had as their top-notch customers, they used as the arrowhead, it was the Emir of Kano, the late Emir of Kano, and the Oni of Ife, Olubushe. So I know it was a BCAL they're talking, which is now British Airways. You're talking 3 decades ago. I know of this. And I also know that there was a culture at that time to delay flights for VIPs. But it was abused. There's a Lagos politician of blessed memory who had, for example, a relationship with Lufthansa. And he would always, every time people were with him to say that, look, you have a flight to carry, he said, they will wait for me. They will wait for me. That was the rhetoric then. We were young. So they will wait for me. So they would wait, yes. There are some prominent Nigerians too back then who were like British Airways regular top-notch customers. And everybody believed, it now became a fashionable thing, way back then, for you to boast in social circles. No, you don't worry, they'll wait for me. I mean, and they would actually announce then, in truth. He says that, let me read, it's very interesting. He says that, we recall about 3 decades ago, an international flight from London, name of airline we had been delayed to allow a traditional ruler not to miss the flight. It was the Oni of Ife. He says, appropriately, the pilot announced, ladies and gentlemen, our flight will be delayed for a few minutes. We are expecting one of Africa's most respected traditional rulers and a regular patron to arrive soon on board. We apologize for this little inconvenience. He now goes on to say, as soon as His Imperial Majesty Shiduade Olubuse, the late Oni of Ife, a member of his entourage, boarded, virtually every black man on the flight stood up in defense to their acclaimed Yoruba Oba. I'm sorry, sir. Life has changed since then. If you do that, the airline will sue you. I mean, the passengers will sue you. We're now in a different era, where everybody claims rights. In fact, we are in a different era now where you have a lot of people against this idea of royalty anyway. It's not peculiar to Nigeria. In England, it's even gaining a lot of ground. And that's why you see that royals tend to tread carefully. And people are more conscious of their rights now. So you can't announce, I'm on a flight ready to go, you're leaving late because you tell me you're waiting for a traditional ruler. I'll sue the airline. So you need to understand that times we're in are completely different now. Things have changed. Yes, there was that privilege. But the truth is, in this case, I can jolly well understand what the argument is, because it was Airpeace that delayed the flight, for them to get to Lagos in the first instance. But what we are told, I wasn't there, what we are told is that the flight itself was ready to taxi. And that they were subsequently offered free flights on the next consecutive flight, which was good to go through Abuja, whatever it is. I don't know whatever, but there was some move to do that. Okay, so I just thought that I should mention that yes, this thing happened 3 decades ago, 30 years ago. I know, because I handled PR for Brical at that time, and I know the position these people held. But times have changed. Times have changed. I remember the Brical chairman telling me, because there was a time he came visiting, we met him, we were waiting at the gates, hoping that he'd come out first from the airline. Apparently, he traveled economy. He was sitting at far back, and we were wondering. I said, "Hi, old chairman, you can imagine a Nigerian airline, the chairman would sit in economy way back." And so when we were having dinner later in the evening, and everybody was relaxed, I casually threw to him that, "Sir, let me be honest, I was surprised that you came in on economy." And he said, "For as long as there is a fee-paying passenger in first class, I have to downgrade, because mine is a non-paying ticket." So in these days, every customer counts, irrespective of their status. I just like to clear the air on that. This is no disrespect, but every customer. I saw the video one time of another traditional ruler that came on a flight carrying all the paraphernalia of office, and they were chanting and doing all these. And I remember remarking at that time that, look, you better put a stop to this practice. You're going to have a passenger who's going to shout you down and say, "My friend, please sit down. We're equal passengers here." The times we're in are quite different. He believes that the airline lost an opportunity to transform the situation into an opportunity. And first of all, he says that, be that as it may, it should be noted that the Sultan of Sokoto, Obi of Onitsha, Oba of Benin, and Emir of Kano all belong to the group of Nigeria's revered custodian of our royal institution and heritages, who should not for any reason be dragged into unnecessary issue in the public domain. They were not dragged into the public domain. They were in the issue. And, sir, times are different. Times are different. There was a time you couldn't even mention their names in public, but democracy and all kinds of things have made this. And the earlier some of us get to realize that, the better it might be for us. Times are different. He tends to blame the airline, though, and he says that this is the Zenari Communication, says that Airpeace's refusal to oblige the Constitution for the revered Emir was not as a result of his unwillingness. I don't know how Airpeace is of his unwillingness, but his young airline does not possess the needed experience, exposure, and professionalism to handle such sensitive situations, especially in consideration of the long-standing reputation of the Kano Emirate and very vital importance of the Emir's Banjul Airpeace trip, and to negotiate his accommodation into the flight in a way that will elicit passengers' understanding and admiration for the Emir. This bit I honestly don't understand. I know that Airpeace definitely could be better. It could be better run. If the experience that I had is anything to go by, then I agree that it could be better run. But in terms of what they could have done, it's quite limited, really, to be honest with you. And somewhere along the line, the owner of the airline was called. It was woken up. That could only happen in Nigeria. If you have a problem with Virgin, you can't call Richard Branson at home. He has an effective managing director and team to handle it. But this is Nigeria. We personalize all things. You can't wake the man up early in the morning to tell him that this is what has happened. Anyway, he argues that the Banjul-Lagos Airpeace flight delay was the fault of the Airpeace airline ab initio, but that a well-trained professional staff and highly experienced something would have managed the situation and resolved. If managing, were they rude to the Emir? No. But I remember in one of their releases, there was a prince that was with the EMA, Prince Bayero, who wrote some kind of petition. And in the response, I remember reading the first line, where the airline put one Mr. Bayero. And I felt, oh, oops, this is not right. Later referred to him as Prince, further down. Earpiece needs, I repeat, a well-trained, super-duper public relations consultant to handle them. You see, they've grown out, they've burst out, they've grown out of proportion before EMA could get himself fully organized. And he needs to distance himself, put in a first-class management team and go face, a lawyer, go face other things. You know, that's my advice to him. Don't buckle down. Go face, put in a proper team, and then so that you can, you know, be removed from things like this that will have to wake you up, you know, in the comfort of your home in the morning. And then he also talks about them having to apologize. Well, they have their operational problems, which is not peculiar to Nigerian business. Nigerian businesses always have operational problems. Even us here, we sometimes have operational problems due to the country we're living in. By the way, for those of you who buy diesel, I heard it has gone up to about 610. This is from 380 something just about 2 weeks ago. Anyway, back to this. All said and done is an article that keeps repeating the point. And what I can take from this advert that was in the papers yesterday is that the issue has been resolved. He says here, while commending the management for all the efforts in returning the airline into the People's Airline, it is the interest of Airpeace at large to inject highly experienced persons. He said this over and over again. But what we get from here is that he says, as both parties had demonstrated affinity love for their fatherland, we sincerely thank Mr. Onyema. Who are we now? Who is he representing? He doesn't say. But he says we thank Mr. Onyema for accepting that the altercation is highly regretted, and his sincere public recognition of the revered Emma as a quiet and peace-loving and very respectable man is indeed a sign that the matter may, after all, have been put to rest finally. Okay, so that's Onyema has done. He's apologized. I'm sure he's done some back end, but it's a very tricky situation. But we also, you see, I would like to call the attention of handlers of royal fathers and VIPs and whatever, that one, the times have changed. I mean, to be honest with you, you could sit next to another in the plane and not say hello to him. If you don't feel, there are some traditional rulers I'll sit next to, I won't even recognize them. Even if he introduces himself to me, I'll tell him that I'm sorry, I don't think so. Sorry, sir. He said Yahuza. I don't know. Because of course, the way they've, not in this case, but they've conducted themselves. The times are different. This is reference towards traditional rulers worldwide. People are beginning to ask, even in the Arab world, in the Arab axis, they have had to let loose a little bit to be more accommodating to people's sensitivities. But all's well that ends well, and we are glad that there's been some resolution on this matter. Okay, so 0700 993 993 993 and 01, is that one working? 465 7190. Our lines are open. And please, when you do call in, call from a quiet place, and please be polite. This is, let me just put it, I don't want any tribal sentiments involved in this argument. You can go have that somewhere else. But you can contribute, you can give your opinion, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's take the first caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
This is a great time, sir, from Lekki.
Yes, sir. Morning.
Sir, you are a true leader. You are a leader. Because the way you narrate breaks down everything.
Yes, sir.
Because when Joyce, when he last week, he brought the same issues to our program.
Yes.
I said that Mr. Onyema should apologize to Bayero. You understand, sir?
Yes.
Because in this country, all those are politicians. They like all those are our obas. You understand, sir? Some of them they are very close to governors and presidents.
Yes.
If he refuses to apologize, next thing they'll start threatening him to withdraw his lancet.
Okay, thank you very much. Point noted. I think I also advised him to do the same. Because in Nigeria, you are not always right. And in any case, there is the what is this word now? Some Latin word I wanted to use that dictates that the customer is always right. No matter how right you might feel, at the end of the day, the customer is always right. And I'm glad that this issue has been resolved. I just thought that it'd be nice to highlight some of the points. I'm going to take a short break now. When I come back, we'll look at this and one other controversial thing that happened last week that I had a very good laugh about. So don't go away, we'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. Daily Digest returns in a moment.
How are you?
Thank you, sir. I want to thank you for all the good job you are doing.
Thank you.
The person you called that didn't answer your call is too bad. You're trying to, that thing you did, you know what amount you should cost them to get somebody to do this.
Yes.
And Onyewa is a gentleman to the call. Some people will be happy to see that this thing is not resolved.
Yes.
But thank God they have settled it, right?
Yes.
Uncle Jimmy, don't give up. You know, I always tell you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for being there for us. Thank you.
God bless you.
Uncle Jimmy, don't give up.
Okay, hello, good morning.
Thank you. Thank you for being there.
Hello, good morning.
God bless you. Uncle Jimmy, good morning, sir.
Morning, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. My name is Dan Baba.
Hey! Dan Baba, where have you been? Morning, how are you?
Hello, sir.
My good friend, Dan Baba, where have you been?
I've been around, though. I watch you on Facebook every day.
You people abandoned me, eh? Where is the one that, what's his name? Comrade Akpan.
Comrade Akpan is around.
Even Solomon, has he given birth to another set of twins? I not see him.
Getting is difficult on this station, to be honest.
I know, I heard so. It's a tough call. Okay, go on, shoot.
You know, I'm from a royal family.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes. I want to disagree with you a bit.
No problem.
Yes. I've checked the rules that guide the Queen Elizabeth of the England.
Yes.
The Queen has right to do a lot of things without being questioned.
Yes.
But don't forget that this is a society that everything works.
Yes.
And hardly that the Queen will do those things, even though it's part of their law. The Queen of England, for example, can never be prosecuted.
Yes.
She can drive without a driver's license.
Yes.
She can do all kinds of things. A lot. It will amaze you if you check all these things. But in Nigeria, even the way the traditional rulers have been appointed alone will show you that these people doesn't take sense. That is why we're having issue. Imagine how the current emir got into power. Let us not go into that politics.
No, I don't want to go to the politics of that. Please take the man out of the argument.
Yes, but we must respect the office of a real traditional ruler. Just like we say every time, they say, no matter who is at the presidency or the Aso Villa, the office must be respected.
Okay, I have to. It's just 1 minute that we have. But the truth of the matter is, as much as you said about the Queen of England, she can't stop a Virgin flight from taking off. It doesn't work that way. Go and check the books. You can't. This is a private enterprise. They have a commitment to customers. The plane is ready to taxi. You can't. You could ask as a favor, but they have the discretion to. And if they don't grant you that discretion, it is not an insult. So that is important. Let me repeat again that it wasn't as if also the emir was late for his flight. No, he came in late on an international flight that was delayed. But I'm even wondering if nobody has even asked if there would have been any seats that he could occupy. I would have thought that the flight going off itself probably would have been full to the brim. But that's a story for another day when we have another review. Let me take one or two more, then I'll go to the next issue. Hello, good morning. Yes.
May God bless you, sir.
Yes.
You are saying the truth.
Yes.
I want to report something that is paining me to you.
No, that's not what I'm here for today, please. Let me take the next turn. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Adenosi Patrick.
Hey, Adenosi, how are you?
Hello, good morning. I'm very well, sir.
Yes.
Well, a prince can be addressed as Mr. There's no offense about that.
Yes.
I am a prince from the royal family in Ondo. I don't belong to that.
Yeah. Well, my reference to that minister is they put one. You see, when somebody says that, when somebody who should know you now says that you are one Adenosi Patrick, I think it's a bit insulting.
Yeah, well,
it was the one. It's not the fact that they called him Mister, but the fact that they put one. That means it's somebody inconsequential. Adding one as a prefix in front of anybody's name is insulting the person.
Absolutely, I agree.
So that's I'll take the
English.
Thank
anyway,
you.
I think the time has come when all of us need to know that the business has an image of its own,
yes,
and they have operational guidelines.
Yes.
What happens in your home or in your palace or in your office is not an authority in the next person's home.
Yes.
We all have rights.
Yes.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. And also, the business also has to think of customers' rights, other customers' rights. I can jolly well imagine, let's take it hypothetically, if I was a passenger on the plane and I got to know that there was a delay for this reason, I would have the rights and discretion to sue the airline. To say, you are trying to satisfy some customer over my own rights. But let's go. That's another academic exercise on its own. Hello, good morning. Hello. That's another academic.
Hello, sir.
Morning.
Hello, good morning, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir, for your wisdom. Hello, sir. Good morning, sir. Well, I think it's a good thing for Mr. Oyema to let the peace reign. Number one, and for the integrity or corporate integrity of the company. Not to say, that word of apology.
Yes.
Just because for people to know, it is not actually dealing with the personality of Adobaero alone but the empire. That's another area where people need to look at it. Even to God, there are preferences for even though God is not partial, but at least there's some reason because that is that involves Adobaero. It is not only him as a personality, but the empire of the Emirates. And so that is why people should look beyond, kind of thing.
You have to translate that one. Okay, thank you. I think your point has been made. But I don't know if it applies fully in this instance. It's a very simple thing. Any passenger who was late, in any case, could have made that same demand. That look, I'm getting late to the airport because of you. You delayed it. Could you? But I think that the time lag is probably what is at fault here. I think that operationally it would have been very, very difficult to delay that flight, because what you think might be a 15-minute delay could end up being a 1 hour. Look, what we heard, what I think I read was that the plane was already off, ready to taxi. I mean, at that point. What I think I read was that. Anyway, we'll now go to the other issue, and I'll have to make a plea on behalf of my colleague. I think a joke that he cracked just went wrong, and that is I'm referring to Ruben Abati, and this controversy on how he handled a female reporter. I think that we are all making a mountain out of a molehill, reacting to the fact that it appears that he reacted to the girl or to the lady calling him by first name. First of all, professionally, in our own profession, in presentation, there are no misters. Okay, that's well known. You don't even need to be a professional to know that. If you are a guest, yes. If I have a guest here, I can't call him. I can't call Eric Teniola Eric. Okay, Mr. Teniola. But I can't call Dear Bumi. But if Dear Bumi and I were presenting a program together, I can't call Dear Bumi. The ethics of version demand that we call ourselves by first name. There's no Mr. in presentation. However, I suspect, and looking at Ruben, I haven't spoken to Ruben. Indeed, I'm not a friend of his. I have his number, yes, but I'm not a friend of his. I haven't spoken to Ruben, but looking at his demeanor and the manner in which he said it, that, oh, look at her calling me Ruben, as if she was there when I was being named. I don't think he meant it the way people are trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. He's been presenting with them for close to 2 years now, and people call him Ruben, and he hasn't reacted. So in these things, sometimes don't let's get over. Those are one of the things I even wanted to take on with Chido, had he been here, because he also wrote a piece on that. And I think that people are blowing hot here where there should be none. I think people are blowing hot here where there should be none. Sometimes you crack a joke and it can go wrong. It's happened to me before. It happens to all of us. So I like to plead on his behalf that could we please just hold our missives and not create tension between two presenters. Our profession is a very dicey one. It's difficult to handle. A lot of you think it's easy. I hear people say, Uncle Jimmy, what, I like your job. You just come for talk, you talk for 1 hour and go. I will try one of you one of these days. It is very, very tough being live on air. And therefore, there's a tendency that you just might be misunderstood. So that's what it is. For those who don't know the rules, there are no misters in presentation. None at all. And then if you don't want to be addressed by your first name, then you don't even come anywhere near the mic and be a presenter or have a co-presenter. Like I said, it's different if you have a guest. It's completely different if you have a guest. But because I remember when Dear Bumi was going to present Dear Bumi at Classic, and I was going to join her. I was toying with the idea so that at least we'd be two. I'd have had to call her Bumi. That would have given me a good chuckle, and I'd have made so much fun out of it. Again, back to the issue of Ruben, I do not think he meant it that way. I haven't seen any clarification he issued. I think he just decided to go quiet on the matter, as I also would have. So I'd like to make that plea on his behalf and tell you to please try. I wonder what you feel, though. Let's get your feelings on the matter. Hello, good morning. Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Morning.
Yes. Hello. My name is Jimi Martins.
Happy birthday in arrears.
Thank you very much, my brother, sir.
Hello. Good morning.
The issue of our brother Ruben.
Hello. Yes.
Well, yes, you did say it's been overblown, but hey, It is just one word. The word mannerless was rather tactless. No matter how jocularly you can put this thing on. Hey, come on. Why not you want be 40 years? Nobody will say that of someone that you wouldn't feel inhibited with. I'm talking particularly about the reporter. Come on. Hey, Ruben is our friend. He's our brother. He's our everything. And he's doing a great job. But it went further than that people think, well, presentation ethics, you expect people of that nature to know better, not say, and, mannerless. That was what caused the problem.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I still maintain that I'm sure it's a pity. I don't want to get involved in the controversy beyond the comments I've made, but I don't think he meant it the way people are saying. I mean, I do throw banters at Webimo here. It's throw some careless ones too that if misconstrued. I remember way back then I always used to harass Buki too in Classic FM endlessly, but it's all in good faith. And one of the things that bothers me is the way people interpret things that we do here. I've heard people say, a lot of people, for example, believe that, maybe we even have relationships between us. And they say the chemistry between the two of you, it shows that this and that. Sometimes when I have a guest, and I'm getting very, especially on Dear Bumi circles. By the way, I have one guest tomorrow that's going to blow your minds completely. Go and dust up your YouTube channel. But sometimes when I crack jokes and I hear people say that there must be something between the two of you. We are just like Nollywood people. Here, presentation here there's a bit of acting in it. What I mean by acting is it might not even reflect your real inner personality. I've had people, for example, say that, I must be a socialite, blah, blah, blah. I'm not. I don't belong to any club. I hardly want to go to parties. Usually when I go to a party, I go through the front door and come out through the back door almost immediately. So you have to cut us some slack and give us a break once in a while. And I plead the same for my... He's not my friend, he's not my friend, but for my colleague, Ruben. I saw the video. I looked at it over and over again, and I could see some jocular part of him. Maybe people are not used to Ruben cracking up. If I had said the same thing, I don't think we would have gotten the same reaction. Because in any case, apart from saying it in a jocular manner, I would have come with a very hearty laugh, and I would have repeated it over and over again. But let me see what you think. Let me pick another call here. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good evening.
Yes.
Morning, sir. My name is Gideon. I'm calling from Nigeria.
Yes. Well, let me see what you think. Let me pick another.
I want to quickly respond to the controversy about the Sabbath.
Morning.
I quite agree with you. I think people who are making an issue out of this are people who don't really follow Dr. Abati on the morning show. He has this jocular way of talking with this humorous way of talking with the younger colleagues of his. And if you watch, I've watched that before, they were all laughing. I think at the point he even said that the lady is probably in love with his name. And the lady laughed, and he laughed as well. They are colleagues. And he was just being humorous.
I think so, yes.
He's well known to people who listen to his morning show, who watch his morning show. It's just not. I think people don't know him. Then social media has a way of also, blowing these things out of proportion.
I think so, yes. Yeah, I got that feeling too. And I can't impose my thoughts on people, but I'm inclined to think that it would be better off spending more time thinking of the problems that we have now in our country. The matter that whether somebody is calling somebody by his first name or surname is neither here nor there for me. Anyway, that's I just thought I should mention it in passing because I was going to take it up with my guest, and he's not here. The other thing I'd like to bring to your attention is this story that we treated in the morning, where civil servants not only have they stolen government property, they also will it to their children. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? This is from The Punch, and it says that the House of Reps ad hoc committee to investigate the number and condition of capital projects abandoned by the federal government across Nigeria. This is from The Punch. Across Nigeria. This is what the leader of the delegation said to our governor, Sanwo-Olu. He said this ad hoc committee is a function of several complaints laid before the House some years ago about federal government properties lying around in all the states of the Federation, including those federal government properties that are being occupied now by hoodlums. Look at the one and I'm sure somebody is letting out all those floors. The old communications building has about 6 floors. It's next to, it's on McCarthy Street. It's next to Plaza Cinema. It's occupied all the way up to the 6th floor. Who is letting that place out? Can I just go there with my luggage and go occupy a room? No. Somebody is running a racket there. Who has been letting out Independence Building as an event center? Look at the government secretariat. It's an eyesore. It's a complete eyesore. So many, and this is 7 years after this new government that we thought would change things around. The old cabinet office, look at the road, the old McCarthy area now, leading to that race course, the roundabout, is a complete mess and eyesore. So apparently, even in Ikoyi, some of the government houses are occupied. I know some people who lived illegally in bus quarters in houses in Ikoyi. They lived there illegally. And even let out small places. You move into bus quarters, then you let out the room next to your own, and you collect the rent. So apparently, some of you who are thinking that Daddy left some things for us might be in for a shock. Now, Mr. Kuya, Mr. Kuya says that he feels that the properties should be reclaimed, and some are meant to be put up for sale. Do so that the proceeds can come into government coffers, both at state and federal level, so that we can have a win-win situation. Remove the security problems that these abandoned properties are constituting to the state governments, and at the same time bring revenue to government. I think what the federal government needs to do in the very first instance, given the situation we're in, is send in security agents to these places, flush them out, and in the first instance board it up. Or if you think that it's going to go down, level it and do something. Why should you try and make up your minds what you want to do with it? Because they do constitute a security risk. I don't see how you're going to dislodge people in the racecourse area now without you having to bring in a security team to do that. And I just hope that nobody gets injured during such an exercise. Let me pick one or two calls, find out what you think, and then I'll be done. Hello, good morning. A security team to do that. And I just hope that nobody gets injured. Hello, morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Oh, yeah. Concerning that issue you just mentioned now, it's kind of worrisome.
Yes.
There is even another one, at where is it? Ikoyi Link dominant like that.
Really?
There, for quite long. I used to be scared, especially in the night. That's another one. There's another one that's shocking to me up to this moment. Yes, it is the one at Goanese, around that that side. There's a particular place. That place used to be sewage. Where the water purifications and all that, used to be taking place that time. Sewage. Okay. Now, not only that they have located this, there's even a kind of bar, very, very popular bar there. I don't want to mention it, and all the lands there were occupied. Now, you will not even see any sign of as if anything has ever existed in that place again. So you wonder, as government, and yet you see this red line, FM, Federal Minister of Housing, whatever, something. You see it there, and yet you see people marrying, letting and subletting. So, what is happening?
Well, this falls under the purview of the Federal Minister of Works. We hope we'll be able to get an explanation as to what is going to happen to these buildings, and therefore making this call through public means for an explanation for the Federal Ministry of Works, and by extension the federal government, can you please explain to us, A, what is going to happen to these, what is happening to the abandoned buildings, B, what is the plan for them? What exactly is the plan for these buildings, especially the Federal Secretariat? It is a shame. It's an eyesore. It is a thing of pain. We used to go to the Secretariat in those days, in our younger days, with pride that this is the government secretariat. You know, as soon as moved to Abuja, we heard the building was sold to Dr. Wale Babalakin, but he can't take possession because he can't get the governor's consent. If that is what is delaying it, we appeal to the governor to please give his consent. We heard there are some interested parties, but I'm not going to be going by rumors. We hear that there are some interested parties who have said that they won't allow Wale Babalakin, that they feel more entitled to the building than he does. Well, maybe if the situation changes in 2023, maybe they will now be able to have their wish. But in the meantime, if Wale Babalakin has paid for it and his money is being tied down, that is a great injustice to the man. And a great injustice to the people. But rumors have it, we know, we are told who these interests are. They're very powerful people. But we plead with them to look at the total picture. You can't have everything. You have enough. Some of the people that the names we are hearing, we know you have more than enough. You have more than enough entitlement from Nigerians. And therefore, let this one go. You have enough. Let me leave that matter. I got to go. I'll be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Dear Bumi. I'm bringing a guest called Barbara Bissong. You know, she's a Calabar chick who speaks French and Yoruba fluently, and we shall put it to test. The French one will put it to test. I will, Philip, remind me to bring, there's somebody I'll tell you to bring, so that if she's doing any nonsense French, at least, you know, like in Celestial Church, they say if somebody is delivering a message, there must be another person to my badogba, so that he can monitor what's being. So, Philip, remind me. I give you a name. So we have that one. As soon as she's speaking French, that one will be telling us if what she's saying is true or not. But Barbara Bissong she's a very interesting person to have conversation with. She speaks Yoruba, I guess she speaks Efik, and she speaks French. She's thrown a lot of French at me, maybe knowing that I don't understand French. I just kept shaking my head. We. Okay, I got to go. I'll be back again tomorrow at 9. The techers will be here any minute from now, so don't go away.
Now let me tell you this. 99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.